uh, I'm on the diet and I'm trying my best to change my lifestyle. But I thought that the best person I could really ask for advice and also for their experience of the whole thing of dieting and making yourself fit and healthy is Dave Brockway. I'm just going to show you the picture of Dave when I met him when he was a comedian back in the noughties. This is Dave. Um, he was a finalist in the Hackney Empire competition in 2002. He was doing really well in stand up. I looked up to him as a newer comedian. This is a clip of Dave when he was doing his act.
Fucking smoking's magic. Who smokes here? Stick with it! Don't let the bastards grind you down! They don't allow it in here, fuck them! Oh, do you cough up black stuff? Fucking lightweight! I was at a gig the other day, they said, "Oi mate, you've got bigger tits than my mum."
I was in gigs where he stole the show. There were bigger headline names and he'd steal the show because his energy was incredible. And his act was a lot about, in a sense, being out of shape. But things changed for Dave, and I was sort of I was around at the time when he started to change his lifestyle. This is Dave after a while, obviously, after he'd been doing his act, as you saw there. Incredible transformation. Dave, thank you for agreeing to come on the show. How are you doing now?
Hi, it's great to see you. And obviously, I remember you as well on the circuit doing your act about dancehall reggae, which I thought was amazing. And yeah, it's great to catch up after 17 years.
Yeah, 17 years. Yeah. Now the thing is, I mean, I'm interested to know because you changed your whole lifestyle, but what was the cause of your doing that? I mean, why did you? Because you were doing quite well with that body shape. In a way, it worked for your act, but why did you change?
Yeah, and I do think you sort of marry yourself to your image. As obviously I was a bigger guy and I was getting a lot of work with everything from commercials right the way through to acting roles and stuff like that, because I was that archetypal bigger guy. The problem is I started blacking out on stage. I actually fell off a stage one night where I was being reviewed, and one of the reviewers said that was the best part of my act. So I didn't want to do that every time I went on stage and started blacking out, and which actually scared me a lot. And then it happened about a week later at the Banana Cabaret on a Friday. It was a bit of a stressful drive, and it took me 9 hours to get there, and it was a bit weird. And then I ended up having that. So I went to the doctors and I said, look, I've been blacking out and stuff like that. And the doctor said, well, how much do you weigh? And I thought I weighed 18.5 stone. Well, what it turns out is my bathroom scale only went to 20 stone. When you get to 20 stone, it starts coming back on itself. So actually I ended up being 21 stone 9 on the doctor scales.
Wow.
And at 5'7", that's not great, and a 54-inch waist. But I think, we all think about the health side of this. We always think, it's better to lose weight. But I'll be honest, I probably did it for quite shallow reasons. I just wanted to look better. I wanted to be able to move about. It was starting to interfere with my life. And for me, I then had to go to a warehouse to get a suit. So this warehouse boasted having 4,000 suits. And there was only 2 suits in the warehouse that fitted me. So I then had to have my waist measured, which was 54 inches, because you have no idea, when you get it measured for a suit. So 54 inches. And I'm like, I can't believe this. And then I did a thing for a TV show, and I took a picture of me. And you've changed, and you've put on weight. And I'd always been that person that was a little bit overweight. And then it wasn't until I visually saw myself, I went, my God, I can't believe that's me.
All right.
you
mean,
just lose the idea of what that is. And I think that was the key factor for me. And I just said, like, I've got to do something about this now.
is it a psychological? Is there a psychological thing too that comes in? You said it's about your appearance, but you know, to have that drive that you've done. I mean, what do you think it was?
Yeah. So again, obesity is a very complex subject. So I've read a lot about it since, and it is very multifactorial. For instance, when you reach a certain level of being overweight, your actual hunger hormones stop working, and you never know when you're full. You know, the brain takes so much longer to realize you're full. You're constantly hungry. There's that factor as well. And I would say for probably even 10 years after losing the weight, I'd have a meal and still feel I could eat another 2 meals. So it took a long time for that to return to normal. For me, I also went to the doctors, and the doctor, one of the reasons I was passing out was because my blood pressure was ridiculous. It was like 180 over 120 something or another. So the NHS recommended guidelines are 80 over 120. And I think I was 190 over 120 or something like that. So it was pretty bad. And he also took my blood sugars, and I was technically diabetic. And I was having skin tags removed. I was having cream because obviously your skin folds get bigger and they start causing sores. My joints constantly hurt because obviously if you're moving around a big frame like that, you just accept it. You just accept the fact that that's not good. And also I had an irregular heartbeat as well, which I then had to have further tests on. Right. And the doctor said to me, he said, look, you know, I can give you medication to solve this. But he said, if you lose 5% of your weight, a lot of this is going to go away. And he didn't say guaranteed, but he did say, look, you're more than likely that this is going to go away. And that was when I sort of said, okay, I need to start thinking about it. But what I didn't do is I didn't panic. I started doing a little bit of research on it and started looking into different diets, and you know, and I sort of accepted the fact it's not going to be, you know, I've done the 6-week diets, the 1-month diet. So I said, look, I'm going to give myself at least a year before I make a decision that I'm going to come off something. So it needs to be something I can stick to for a year. And I had a goal of losing maybe 3 to 4 stone. And that was how I started. I didn't try and do everything at once. You know, it's that New Year's Day resolution thing where you're going to give up smoking, you're going to give up drinking, you're going to go to the gym, you're going to go on a diet, and you're probably going to fail on all 4 of them. So I just focused on one thing at a time. So I would, because I was so heavy, I joined the gym in December. Because it was literally a New Year's resolution, because it was November. I had the fall. It was November, I think. So I thought I'm going to take a month and mentally prepare myself and have a look into things and set myself up, do my shopping the week before. So it was quite a lot of prep that went into this, that I was sort of, you know, it was almost like I was preparing for nuclear war, when actually it was just trying to lose a few pounds. But I thought I'm going to set myself up for the next few months. So I went out and did my shopping, did a shopping list that I would need. And I went and joined the gym. And I'd always been quite athletic when I was younger. So I thought it wouldn't be a problem. It would just, you know, just start nice and light. And I couldn't do anything. I went on the treadmill and I set it to the lowest setting because the lactic acid that was building up on my leg was just, I couldn't do it. I could barely walk. So my first goal was to be able to walk on a treadmill for 30 minutes or for 20 minutes by the end of the month. So I set myself a realistic goal at that point. I said, okay, I've got to step back and say, I need to meet where I am rather than trying to, run before I can walk, essentially.
Yeah.
And I said that was one of my goals, is to be able to walk on a treadmill. Didn't matter about the speed, 30 minutes. So did that, and then at the end I would do like a light dumbbell circuit, full body, a little bit of squats on the chair, thing like that. And I restricted myself to, with the diet side of it, because the diet is the most important side of it. Is I essentially at the beginning started with the Atkins diet.
Okay.
Since and what I would say is that I've read a lot about nutrition and stuff like that, and there's some main principles. You need to be in some sort of energy deficit, so you need to be eating less than your body burns. That's essentially what you need to do. And the Atkins diet or any other diet, intermittent fasting, all these things essentially create that energy deficit. So it doesn't matter which diet, they all work. What I'd say is pick the diet that seems the most appealing to the way to the things that you do at the moment. So if you don't skip breakfast and you think, oh, I can skip breakfast, then maybe intermittent fasting's for you. You're just skipping that one meal, which is creating that energy deficit. So I did that, and the weight just started falling off. I think by the end of the month, I'd lost 1.5 stone, so like 10 kilos.
Wow.
Actually, I lost 2 stone by the end of the first month, and I managed to walk and I did that. I ended up doing the whole 30 minutes on the treadmill. So that was my first goal. And I was like, okay, right, this is what I need to do each month, is reset the goals and say, okay, what do I want to do next month? Make it realistic. And for me, I smashed everything. I just thought, okay, that's brilliant. And I started doing the maths and going, well, okay, if I lose £2 a week, because obviously at that size, it's not hard to lose £2 a week. I could essentially in 6 months lose 26 weeks. I could essentially lose £52 in 6 months. So I started doing it like that and thinking, okay, if I do £1 a week, and I don't need to be as extreme, but then I sort of, it became like a mission to me. So at the end of the next month, I'd lost another like stone and a half. And I was taking pictures all the way through as well. So, I have got that before and after shot.
Right.
Anyway, I think I started at 21 stone 9 or 22 stone. And I think by May that year, I was down to 15 stone.
Wow.
15 and a half stone. And I was in pretty good shape. At that point, I actually started doing a bit of running. And I was doing weights a little bit more seriously again, and I pretty much, I think if I'd stayed there, that would have been great. That would have been the goal for me, and I felt much better, and I could actually start buying clothes off the shelf, rather than having to go to specialist places to get clothes. And I thought, okay, that's what I want to do. And I went back to the doctors about 3 months in, and the doctor went, well, your blood sugars are better than our range of normal. Your cholesterol's better than our range of normal. There's no problems with your heart, and my blood pressure has come down to 125 over 85. So I was like, obviously, it's better for me all round.
So in 6 months, in 6 months, effectively, you've been given a clean bill of health.
In 3 months, actually.
3 months.
So I at that point, I was probably about 17 stone, or just dipping into the 16 stones. So yeah, I was actually within a healthy range of everything. Obviously, I was still overweight, but a lot of the health issues that had come with it. And I'm not saying, look, always go and see a medical professional, because with me, I was still quite young, so I was 35 at the time. and everyone's body responds differently to it. And you know, some people do lose the weight and they still have the same health issues and they still need medication. So I would get checked in with your doctor to make sure it is working and you're not doing anything that's causing problems.
Yeah. So when were these pictures taken? Because that's not recent. I mean, this is quite a while ago, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I had hair in there, so.
I mean, I'm not saying it like that. I just mean, I remember seeing those before.
So when I hit the 6-month mark, everyone sort of started saying, "Oh, you're doing really well. You know, probably good to leave it there." And I went, "Do you know what? I'd like to really try and get to that sort of shape that most people want to get to." And I'd vocalize it to people as well. And obviously, people would laugh and go, "Yeah, Dave, okay. You going for a run then, are you?" Like, yeah, it's the ice cream van outside, you know. So you get that sort of banter about that. And I said, no, that's what I'm going to do. You know, I'm going to get in shape to, you know, look like a fitness model type shape. And they were like, yeah, all right. So me being me, and I'm an all in or nothing person, I went, okay, right, I'm going to show you. And I started reading and researching this, and I thought, okay, I know what to do. And I started obviously reading books on nutrition. So obviously the Atkins diet served me well to then, but you need something that you can move forwards on. So that was it. I was rigid. I'd prep my meals for the week. I'd go to the gym rigidly 3 to 4 times a week. And I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I just carried on going and carried on going. And then next thing I was 10 and a half stone. And obviously I just thought, okay, right, now it's time to book a photo shoot. And I did the photos and I put them on Instagram, and everyone, not Instagram, on Facebook, and everyone's like, yeah, great, Dave. You can do a lot in Photoshops. And that people still didn't believe it. So no matter what you do, you're never going to please everyone. So if you think it's going to change people's perception of you, yeah, great. So I did that, had all the pictures taken, and I've still got the pictures. And I went, okay, that's great. But then I started looking at research of how people put weight back on if they've lost weight. And it's quite frightening statistics that 100% of people that, I think out of all the people that lose weight over 5 years, 97% of them will put the weight back on and more. Okay, so I need to look into this being a long-term thing. I can't do all this again. So I started looking at introducing this into my lifestyle and making it a little bit better. And rather than do things for just weight loss, I needed to do something that was exercise that was good for me. And I needed to find a diet I could stick to pretty much forever that also had some enjoyment in it. That, you know, it wasn't literally living on chicken and broccoli for the rest of my life.
You're going into competitions in powerlifting. I'm just going to show a picture. Look, pictures here. Look, so you're powerlifting.
Yeah.
I don't really know what powerlifting is. I mean, it's weightlifting, but it's a particular kind of weightlifting. Could you tell us a bit about what it is and why you got into powerlifting?
I actually had a car accident. And I trapped the nerve in my neck. This is obviously after I lost the weight. And I actually lost quite a lot of the use in my right arm for a long period of time. So all the training and everything, I had to work out a way to train with that injury and try and work around it and try and build it back up as well. I was watching World's Strongest Man. I think it was over Christmas or on YouTube. And I thought, oh, I wonder if I could do that. It's rather than just like look at things and go, and what stages would I need to work through to get back from not being able to use my right arm to lifting up at the stones. I'll see if I can find a video of it actually, but I'm sure there's some on here. Yeah. So I thought, well, what can I do? So I looked up strongman. I ended up going to like a strongman circuit class where you lifted up at the stones. And I was absolutely useless at it. And I went, okay, this is something I'd like to get better at. And I ended up, I think within 6 or 7 months, actually signing up to doing a strongman comp.
Good. Let's have it up for Dave. Go on, Dave. Go on, Dave. Loads of aggression. Drive those toes. Now we're cooking, brother. That's looking great. Now you're looking like a gorilla. Come on. Great work, buddy. Come on, keep going. Big touch. Fantastic work there in the last 50% by Dave. 26.88.
I did that for about 4 years, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was never very good at it because realistically, to do strongman, you need to be, 6'9" and Icelandic, really, and I'm neither. So I ended up getting injured on the end, picking up an Atlas stone onto a block, and I broke my hand on the opposite side, so the weaker hand. And I was kind of doing powerlifting training. So powerlifting is 3 lifts. It's the squat, bench, and deadlift.
Right.
And a friend of mine said, do you want to come along and, do that while you're, because I could still do squat, bench, and deadlift, and try that as while you're recovering for that to go back into strongman. And I went, yeah, okay. So I went along and did a competition, probably didn't take it that seriously, and I won. And I went, okay, I could probably be quite good at this.
What sort of weight can you lift then? I mean, can you lift your own weight? What I mean,
I squat about 210 kilos.
Kilos?
I bench again, due to my arm and obviously the nerve damage I have, I bench about 115 kilos. And I deadlift about between sort of 215 to 225 kilos.
So that's 3 times your body weight.
Nearly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Can't work out how you can possibly do that at all. Actually, it doesn't make any sense to me. You said you're very good at this. I mean, this is evidence of that. This is a medal that you've got there. Can you tell us what you've won in the powerlifting?
Well, so this year and again, I think a lot of it, I sadly lost my mum last year, just after the, so I managed to qualify for the British Masters final last year in Belfast, and I got my injury flared up, my nerve injury from my accident flared up just before the competition. My mum got quite ill, and I wasn't going to go, and my mum sort of said, like, please go, just try and go and enjoy it. And I came 6th in the British final at that year, and I went, okay, like, and obviously when my mum passed away, I threw myself into it a little bit, probably just to try and cope. And this year I won the British, and I won gold, and that was in the 93 category. Because again, 3 weeks out, I decided to get shingles. So I was going to pull out of that, and I was trying to diet into the 83s. And because of my shingles, I just thought, I'm not going to start going on a diet. There's too much stress on the body, diet, and trying to cope with illness and try and patch it up. So I was literally on the deadline of being able to change my weight category. And I said, can I go in as a 93? Because I'd already qualified as in the weight category above as well. So I said, okay, can I go in as a 93? So obviously, being in a heavier weight category, you stand less chance of winning, just due to the fact that people that are heavier generally lift more weights. And I thought, okay, well, I'll go in and just try. And I won. And I was like, oh, okay. That's like, that just totally blew me away. And it was quite a comfortable win. And then 2 weeks later, I was still entered as an 83 in the All Englands. So I got off stage, I think the Sunday after, so the day after the British, I was 88.1 kilos. I was still entered as the English in the English 2 weeks later, so 13 days later, as an under 83. And I thought, oh, you know, I might not win it, but let's see if I can get under 83 for the day. And I managed to get down to 82.7. And I went into the English. And actually, when the first weigh in, because you get an hour to weigh in, I was 83.3. And I went, oh, God, you know, it was so close. So I got chewing gum and I spat into a cup. So I literally trying to get rid of water. And I was walking up and down in all my clothes that I had in the car and then spitting into a cup. And a friend of mine was coming along and said, please get me some chewing gum because I need chewing gum to get more spit out. And I went up and weighed in again at 9:20. So I had to 9:30 and I was 83.2 or 83.1. I was like, I've got to do this. And then last knockings, I think it was 9:29. I jumped on the scales. I go, excuse my nakedness. I took all my clothes off and it teetered on 83.1, 80 and 80. And then one of the guy goes, I've been doing this for 30, 40 years. He goes, that was probably the most exciting weighing I've ever seen in my life. And then I thought, but at that point, I felt so depleted of water and everything else like that. I couldn't have anything to eat. So I thought, you know, I'm just going to go and do it and see how I get on at the All Englands. And I won that. And I was like, that was just like incredible. So I thought, oh, you just can't beat that really.
And what I mean, is there an age thing about this? I mean, how old is there a limit on what it could be? Or
there's guys in their 80s doing it, you know, and there's a guy who's in my division. I think he's in his late 70s now, if not 80. And he's still pulling 200 kilo deadlifts at 93 kilos. So, wow. Yeah. Squatting you start to struggle with because your hips get a little bit tight and stuff like that. But he still manages to make depths in a squat and he still benches quite a bit. There's quite a few of them out there. So you have like the Masters 3 and the Masters 4 categories, which are Masters 4 is like 70 and above. And they're pretty impressive to watch.
You've said that you're going to compete in the Commonwealth Championships. So have you ever competed against people outside the country before? I mean, that's a different proposition totally, isn't it?
No, I mean, obviously I was just happy to win the British. Obviously that was always the goal, is just to get to a point of either placing in the British or winning it. So that was always the goal. And then obviously I actually received the letter a few weeks later saying you've been selected to represent England in the Commonwealth and also as a reserve in the GB for the Worlds.
The
Championship,
Worlds?
which is,
wow.
Yeah, so South Africa. So I don't think I'm going to end up going to the Worlds, but still, I mean, hell of an honour to be asked.
It's going to cost you quite a bit of money to do this, so you've got a crowdfunder for that to get you out there and to compete. So I'm going to share that on the on this video, and anyone who wants to support you can please.
I mean, yeah, unfortunately, I never realised the cost of. You know, I watched an interview with the British weightlifter Emily. I forget her name. Emily Campbell, I think her name is. Let me just check because I don't want to get it wrong. Yeah, Emily Campbell, and she was talking about with a qualifying process and everything else like that. It's cost her £10,000 to try and get there as a professional athlete. It's only, and then she had her sports funding pulled. So she's obviously said like how thankful she is to everyone. And with the crowdfund, I just want to say thank you to everyone that's helped me out, because the affordability of it was just ridiculous. Flights, you have to stay in the hotel, you have all your entries, you have to buy your tracksuit and singlet that you have to wear on stage. All these things are just even obviously the drug testing that they do, you have to pay to have that done, which I don't actually mind, but it's still it's just another cost. And you can actually, you sort of think, well, they've only got to pay for flight and hotel, but there's so many more costs that come with it. My knee sleeves split last week as well, which is another £200. I've got to buy them for the national. So everyone that's helped me out, I just want to say thank you to them as well, because without them I wouldn't have been able to do it.